Good morning, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, if you are present. Good morning, Facebook. We are excited to be here on this Figured Out Friday. Let's see. All right. Welcome to the Coaches Cafe. And if you by chance are new to me, let me just give you a brief introduction. My name is Regina Lack, and I pull up every Friday. So make sure you set your alarms for 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Who am I? What am I do? Just real brief. I just want to help you figure out how to reduce your risk for chronic disease. And if you have a chronic disease, we drop you information content to help you reverse that or reverse some of your chronic health disease symptoms, and so that you can have better outcomes. The main thing is that I want you to have a better quality of life. I don't want you to just live to be 90. I want you to live to be absent of disease at 90 if you possibly can. So I was borderline high cholesterol about 15 or so years ago. And that's what really propelled me on my journey. I've been on my health journey since 1998, right? For those who've been trekking with me, you know, I turned 50 just the other day. And you say 50 where? 50 right here. Because when you take care of yourself, 50 can be the new 50. And you can be proud to say that you are 50. 30 is not the new 50, okay? I am so proud, so elated. Number one, to be in my right mind. Number two, to have the activity of my limbs. So, amen. Thank you, Jesus. All right. I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul shall prosper. Welcome and good morning. That is my brief introduction. That is my scripture for the day. I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul shall prosper. So this Friday and for the month of May, we're going to be addressing mental health in various ways. Help me understand. Well, I want to help you understand that your nutrition, your food, in fact, impacts your mental health. So today, my topic is your food and your mood. Again, I'm Regina, and I am here, and I'm pulling up to help you reduce your risk factors when it comes to chronic health conditions such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol. That was what I battle with and continue to battle with. Hello, as well as carrying excess weight. I want you to live a long life, and I want you to live a well life. So if you are in the workspace, we eat a lot of food at work. We have a lot of mood things going at work. And so this month, like I said, our conversation throughout the month is going to be various conversations. I will also have mental health therapists in this month to provide you with some just additional mental health information. So make sure you share this out or the content out for the month of May. Good morning, Jay. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Ms. Rosin. How y'all doing? And so we're going to be brief this morning. I say we're going to be brief. I say that all the time, right? And then we get into these discussions. I'm sharing. Y'all start asking a lot of questions, and I just want to be responsive to your questions. But I also want you to note, before I get too deep in here, mark your calendars for Monday, May the 18th. I will be hosting a masterclass. I'll post next week where you can sign up and register for my masterclass. So we're going to be talking recovering the recoverable, and I'm going to go into great details. What's Keisha from Chicago? What's up, girl? Thank you for pulling up. I am really going to be breaking down when we're talking about our health and how do we recover our health. I will be breaking that down for you in detail on May the 18th. So you're not going to want to miss that first master class that I'll be hosting, my first master class for 2026. And as we go forward. And so let's get into this conversation. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. Look at my YouTube folks. What's up? I love it. I love to see y'all. Thank y'all for pulling up. And everybody that catch the replay, thank y'all as well, because I get a lot of comments on the replay. Super excited. Y'all, we have some wonderful things coming up. Like, mark your calendars and get ready for our master class, Recovering the Recoverable. So organizations, if your people are absent because their blood pressure is up and they're going to all these doctor's appointments, you may want to have your staff meeting, your staff to attend that masterclass. It's going to be in the evening, so you can't make people really attend in the evening. But mark your calendars. May 18th, 7:30 p.m. I want you in the room. Registration link will be dropping probably this Monday, May the 4th, but I'll be talking about it and I want you in the room. Make sure you tag and tell a friend. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. A lot of people struggle and are challenged with their mental health. And what I'm going to do for the month of May is walk you all through a whole month having this conversation, not just about, like depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety are real. There are other mental health conditions that are real. Matter of fact, I was having a conversation Wednesday with my brother, and he was just sharing about how people don't really understand that mental health is real. And they don't know what it's like to walk with somebody who's really struggling in their mental health. And they just don't know. They don't believe it, right? And so I just want to share and invite this into your space. Be kind to people, whoever they are. Just because they show up does not mean that they're fully well in terms of their mental health. People show up and they are productive and they can perform. However, you don't know what people are struggling with every single day. So that's my invitation to you. That's like a freebie on a Friday. Like, just be kind. That's not my conversation for today, but I just invite you to be kind in whatever space that you're in. So let's get into our conversation for today. And we are talking about your food and your mood. Type that in the comments if you are with me. Your food and your mood. Our food impacts our mood, whether you know it or not. Whether you know it or not, your food impacts your mood. Type that in the comments. My food impacts my mood. And today I am going to share with you 3 foods that impact your mood, and then 3 foods that I want you to consider making some shifts so that you can evaluate and see if your mood make any kind of shifts, right? So y'all know what we do every Friday. Let me grab my little water. Make sure you have your water every day. Half your healthy body weight is sufficient. You don't have to drink a gallon of water. You don't have to drink a gallon of water. Now, if you're training for something, you probably need more water, but just the average person, like nobody's really average. We are special, but you get what I'm saying. Drink a half your healthy body weight in water, okay? And if you're not used to drinking water at all, start where you can. Drink 8 ounces and work your way up to 16 and then 20 and then 24. You get my picture. Food that impacts your mood. That's our conversation for today. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Not only does environmental factors impact your mental health, what we consume in our bodies also impact your mental health. I don't know if you all knew it or not, but your stomach is considered your second brain, right? Your gut is considered your second brain. And so we want to make sure we're fueling our brain with the most optimum fuel. Just like you don't need to put sugar in your gas tank, we're going to talk about the impact of sugar that we consume, right? Sugar causes inflammation, all right? So let's get into this conversation. 3 foods that impact your mood. Today, we're just going to have a little class, all right? Is that okay with y'all? 3 foods that impact your mood. Number 1, and type this in the comment, ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods. Well, let's be specific. People like to use oil. We like to use all types of seed oils. So let's just have a brief conversation. Real brief. Ultra processed seed oil, because I'm not just going to leave it blanket, it's bigger. What is ultra processed foods? We're going to continue to break that down. And again, make sure you mark your calendars for May the 18th when I break a lot down and give you actual handouts and an actual workbook during our masterclass. The first food that I want us to have a brief conversation about today that impacts your mood and you may not recognize it is seed oils. Grapeseed, Okay. That's just one oil that I'm naming. Um, people like to use olive oil. I encourage you to really, 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 really do your research. Seed oils contribute to inflammation. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. Seed oil contributes to inflammation. They are what? Here is the fact. Here is the fact, and we want to go on facts. Trust but verify. We want to go on the facts. They're high in omega 6. These contribute to inflammation, plain and simple. A heavy brain is often an inflamed brain. So you're really not thinking straight because it's clogged up with all of these oils. Seed oil is linked to increased rates of anxiety and brain fog because they disrupt your blood-brain barrier. Girl, what are you talking about? I know that COVID was a real experience for a lot of us. And a lot of times people still say, I got that long haul COVID. Do you really have long haul COVID, or how much oil are you consuming? Start to tease out things so that you can get to the root of the thing. It's easy for us to stick a label on something without really doing the work to figure out what's really going on. Do you use seed oil? Type in the comments if you use seed oil. And if so, what seed oil do you use? Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. What seed oils do you use? What seed oils do you use? Right? Canola oil. I know a lot of people like to, it's Friday. And in the South, it may happen other places, but in the South, people like to have fish on Fridays, fried fish on Friday night. And what are we doing with that fish? Honey, we gonna fry that fish. And if we don't fry it, we going down to Mr. So-and-so where he has the best fried fish in the best batter. So I want you to consider your seed oil consumption. Good deal. Good deal, Facebook. No seed oil. No seed oil. Way to go, girl. Way to go. Yes. Okay. TT Rod says some olive oil. When we're talking about these seed oils, soybean, no seed oil for me. Hey, I love it. Y'all are doing good. Y'all been following your girl. Y'all been following your girl. Thank you. But here are a few seed oils that I really want you to check your cabinet on this weekend. Canola oil, soybean, corn oil, sunflower oil. I know y'all like sunflower seeds. Cottonseed oil, and then that grapeseed oil. Again, they're high in omega 6. What does that mean for me? It means that it impacts your blood-brain barrier, right? And so what that looks like is that fogginess that tends to come, and it's also linked to anxiety. So if you find yourself anxious, or if you find yourself having some anxious moments and you just wonder, where is this coming from? I thought everything was okay. Check what we're consuming. Check what we're consuming. So that's the first thing that I want you to think about. A food that impacts your mental health. Seed oils. And you probably didn't even know that because we use oil when we cook. Number 2, you may be familiar with this one, refined sugars. Number 2, we're talking about refined sugars. This is what sends you on that emotional roller coaster, because rapid glucose causes you to be up and it causes you to be down. Causes you to be up, causes you to be down. You have those sugar crashes. You call them crashes. That cortisol, y'all know what the cortisol is. It's called the stress hormone. Type in the comment, cortisol, your stress hormone, is released, which feels like an onset of, you get irritable. You be talking about you angry and you hangry and you hungry. Think about your sugar consumption. Think about your sugar consumption. That is the second food that impacts your mood, your sugar consumption. It causes you up like, oh, Snicker bar, candy bar, whatever it is, or whatever it is that you like to chew on is sweet during that time. And I get it. I get it. I get it. You high and then you crash. You high and then you crash. That alters your mood. Think about your sugar consumption. And here's another one. This one gonna hit you, girl, because I use these sometimes too. Artificial sweeteners. And they are similar to sugar, but they're not the same thing. So, 3 foods that impact your mood today that we're talking about: your seed oils, and that is canola, soybean, corn oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed, and then grapeseed oil. Those are the seed oils that we're making reference to that will impact your mood. Number 2, refined sugar. The fact is, it will cause you to crash, period. Sugar will cause you to crash. It's like a roller coaster. You on an emotional roller coaster, right? In the workplace, because y'all know y'all be in between them means eating all them snacks. And you wonder why somebody's attitude, she always has an attitude, baby, she full of sugar. And you start your day with all that coffee and all that mocha and all that sweetness that you put inside that cup. By the time you get to work, that stuff done wore off and your mood is just ragged. What you trying to figure out why she uptight, why he uptight so early in the morning? They don't hit that crash. They don't hit that crash, okay? Number 3, we just mentioned artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners. They interrupt your gut microbiome. You don't know what that is today, but make sure you come to my masterclass and we're going to be talking about those things. What is a gut microbiome? Your gut, your belly is your second brain. So we want to be very conscious of what we're feeding our second brain, which is our gut. So 90%, I'm not trying to be all sciencey with you, but many people have heard of dopamine and serotonin. 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So when we use these artificial sweeteners, they disrupt the natural microbiome, the little belly brain in your stomach, which has your what we call happy chemicals. And so if we're impacting them with things that are negatively infused with them, then it impacts our mood. So those are 3 food items that impact your mood. Oil, particularly seed oil. Number 2, refined sugars. And number 3, artificial sweeteners. I had some coffee the other day, and I didn't tell the lady that I wanted a sweetener. And guess what? She didn't put none in there. I told her that I wanted some oat milk. I was on the coast, and I tried a new restaurant while I was there, a plant-based restaurant, which I was so fascinated that they even had a plant-based restaurant. So I had a plant-based breakfast, and I asked her if they had like oat milk or soy milk so that I could have me some coffee with my breakfast, because I didn't want tea with my breakfast. I'm just saying. And so when she brought it back and I poured my little oil, my little oat milk in the coffee, and then I started to drink it, I was like, oh, I was, kind of shocked with the taste, but it didn't taste bad. So your taste buds, put this in the comments, reset every 21 or so days. So when you remove something, if you're using oil, seed oils, if you remove the seed oils, if you remove the refined sugars, if you remove the artificial sweeteners for 21 days, your gut, your taste bud is going to reset. So you will get used to not having that taste, and then you will be taking on a new flavor and a new flavor palette. I want y'all to try that. So it's May the 1st. It's a new time to try a lot of different things. So we talked about 3 foods that impact your mood in a negative way, that drains your mood. Now, y'all know I'm not going to leave you right there. Let's talk about real quick 3 foods that fuel your mood. 3 foods that fuel your mood, that make you feel a little bit better. One of them, the first one, is my favorite food. And that's going to be when we're talking about what impacts our mental health. Again, it's not just your environment. It's not just your um, things that weigh heavy on you. The reason why people have let's see, somebody says I use dates. Hey, y'all. Hey, Kelly. Yes. I use date syrup and for sweetener in my coffee. Now, let me ask you this, Kelly. Do you make your own date syrup? I'm contemplating that. I used up all my dates when I was making smoothies because I use dates as well in my smoothies. And so, do you make your own date syrup or do you purchase it? Thank you for sharing that. For those of you on LinkedIn and on YouTube over here, my new friend Kelly in the Food for Life class just shared over here on Facebook that she uses date syrup for a sweetener because we want to use these natural sweeteners. We don't want to have our health impacted by these artificial and ultra processed foods. Let's get into the thing that I'm very excited to share with you all now. I'm not going to leave you like, oh my God, this guy, what can I replace it with? What can I replace it with? So we're going to slide. I do not purchase the date. Okay, good deal. She purchased from the date lady. Love it. Because what I'm not going to do is make it complicated for me. I want to simplify this thing. We don't have to hand make everything. So I love that we can just have these natural things and support other businesses as well. So let's talk about 3 foods that improves your mood, that fuel your mood, that give you the energy that you want. One of them is my favorite. I love greens. I love cabbage. I love kale. I love leafy greens. So type in the comments. Leafy greens are rich in vitamin B9 and they're rich in folate. That is something that we need. Vitamin B9 is something that we need. Let me say this. Here is my clarifier. I'm talking about leafy greens. I'm not inviting you to put your pig feet in the greens, your hog maw in the greens. You can use some broth to give you flavor and a lot of seasonings to give you flavor. We're not going to destroy these leafy greens by putting all Mr. Animal in your greens. I want you to try your greens with broth instead of meat. Okay. Y'all know I'm plant-based. I'm not saying you got to be plant-based, but I do want you to increase your plants, right? So here's the thing. Y'all know you grew up on grains. A lot of people grew up on grains. If you don't like grains, give them a new try, give them a new flavor, put some new things with your grains. Folate, I mentioned to you all that leafy greens are rich in folate. Folate is essential for your dopamine and serotonin production. We're going to talk more about that later. I don't want to get too sciencey in that, but eating greens is like giving your brain raw material it needs to stay happy. The happy, the happy dopamine and serotonin, the happy, yay! So it depends on what we eat. It really does impact your mood. Look around and find 5 people that don't eat greens and tell me how their mood is. Do your little experiment. Keisha, thank you. Yes, I use vegetable broth. I use low sodium vegetable broth and I just season it. And I also put different, when I make my cabbage, I love to make what I call I use a recipe that's called Jamaican cabbage. And you actually put in carrots, you put in parsley, you put in colored peppers, and then you flavor it with a lot of different seasonings, right? Make sure, and it's going to be another class, but make sure you're reading those ingredients and see what's in those seasonings, because guess what? Sneaky salt and sneaky sugar is in most ingredients that we have, in most of our seasonings that we have that we don't recognize. Number 1, food that improves your mood. That's going to be our green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables. I have over here on Facebook every morning, I steam kale and I love this. I steam kale in a mason jar in the microwave for about 2 minutes, drain it and add it to balsamic vinegar and pico de gallo. Oh, I'm going to have to try that. Love that. Thank you for sharing, Kelly girl. Thank you so much. Y'all, that's a new try. Steam kale in a mason jar in the microwave for 2 minutes. drain, and add balsamic vinegar and pico de gallo. Bam! We giving out recipes over here. We want to help you live long and optimum. Number 2, the second food that I want to share with you all that helps improve your mood, again, I ain't gonna say all of them are my favorites, but these 3 foods that improve your mood, I want them to be staples in your household. Number 2, your berries. Your berries. They are high in antioxidants. Like, woo! If you can eat a cup of blueberries every day, and they can be frozen. You don't have to eat everything, fresh. They can be frozen, give you the same benefits, right? They are high in what we call flavonoids. When you come to my class, I will break all these things down for you. But what I will say, don't be over there on TikTok just trying to buy some stuff and lose weight. We ain't talking about that. We want you to have good health information that you can then go back and make good decision on. We're not talking about what's trending. We're talking about what's trending for our health, right? I just have to throw it in there because I know y'all like to be going over there and get something to lose 5 pounds, lose 10 pounds. I understand it, but you can naturally cleanse with these things that I'm talking about. You can do anyway, we'll get into that later. But I don't want you just reaching and grabbing all kind of information. I'm super excited that I'm in the Food for Life class. And so I'm going to have even more information that I will be sharing with you all. And I will be having live cooking demonstrations. So you're not going to want to miss hanging with your girl going forward as we start these live cooking demonstrations, traveling the state, not just like what I'm doing now, providing you with the education, the things that harm your mood and the things that help your mood. I will show you exactly how you can shift out your kitchen, small things at a time. So number 2, we're talking about foods that impact your mood. Why? Because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and our food really does impact our mood. The second food that we're talking about that will help you boost your mood are berries. I'm talking about your strawberries, your blueberries, your blackberries. Like, you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. But the blueberries, oh my goodness. There's a lot that you can do with your berries. Let me tell you something that they do that you're going to want to know about. They protect your brain cells from what we call oxidative stress. Think of it as like a security guard, a bodyguard for your neurons that fight against depression-linked inflammation. Our brains can get so inflamed, and we don't even realize that. And so we don't have the right barriers to support that. I know that sounds kind of sciencey, and we can go into details, but I want you to know that what you consume, all the salty food, the easy snacks, I get it, I understand. I've been there, I've done that. When I was in the workplace, those little toasty peanut butter crackers, they were my friend, right? They were in my drawer. I was whipping them bad boys out because I was not taking my lunch breaks. That is not a badge of honor. Take your lunch break, people. Take your lunch break, people. That's not a badge of honor. Working through your lunch breaks. Most of us have these smart watches that tell us to get up and stand up. We don't even do that. That's a freebie on a Friday. Make sure you take your lunch break. But I understand. I've been there. I've done that. When I was in the workplace, I was not always taking my lunch. I was not practicing the best way for me to be healthy, right? I was just doing the thing. I was showing up. And being excellent, right? But I want you to have good capacity to show up and be well, not just look well, but be mentally well as physically well. And we do that by giving our bodies the proper fuel, right? The 3 foods that we talked about that causes your mood to decline, that's really not good for your mood. We talked about seed oils. We talked about your sugar, refined sugar. And then we also talked about your sweeteners, foods that help your mood. We talked about your green leafy vegetables, not with fatbacks. We talked about using vegetable broth instead and really, really good seasonings. And then number 2, we talked about your berries. Let's get into number 3. That's going to be your beans and your legumes. This is the steady burn, what I call the steady burn. Why? They're high in fiber, and we know that when foods are high in fiber, they help us to feel fuller longer. So you're not having the snackies and the munchies. So we want to have our beans and the legumes. They're high in fiber. For those who like to run away from carbohydrates, you don't have to run because our beans are what we call complex carbohydrates. And if you don't use, well, yeah, if you don't use, look at your ingredients, not, yeah, look at your ingredients on there as well. Make sure you want to grab the ones that have reduced sodium. So what do these beans and legumes do for you? Now, I don't eat a whole lot of beans because, yeah, I eat my little 1/4, and then I try to be good with that. Make sure y'all following the serving size too. Y'all know I talk to y'all about that. So the impact of beans and legumes on your health, on your brain health, on your mental health, they provide what we call a slow, steady release of glucose. What is glucose? Y'all a sugar friend. It provides a slow, steady release of glucose, which means you're not using sugar, you're not using artificial sweeteners, and you don't have that crash. Because when you have that slow, steady release, it keeps your mood stable for hours. So we want to make sure we have our beans and legumes so that we can have a steady burn instead of a quick crash. That's what sugar does. It gives us a quick crash. When we fuel our bodies with these things, it prevents that 2 o'clock and that 3 o'clock slump that often leads to that mental fatigue. In the afternoons, I always ask people, and I have to do it myself after it takes you a minute to get there. But after you think about, why do I get tired every day around the same time? Well, what did you consume? Start asking yourself, what did I consume? What did I have for breakfast? Some people don't have breakfast. What did I have for lunch? Because some people do intermittent fasting and they may eat from 10 to 6. So what did you eat? What was your first meal? What was that lunch or that second meal like? Are we consuming the things that support our optimal health? So I hope that was simple. I tried to make it simple for you because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Our foods do impact our mood. So when we're at our office functions and you got all these donuts and all these pastries, and then by 9 o'clock, after y'all done had the little breakfast, everybody walking around looking like, don't talk to me. They done had to crash. You've had a crash. So I will be providing you with some alternatives for your little breakfast functions at work. Look out, world. Here come the Food for Life instructor coming to a city near you soon. So 3 foods that causes your mood to be negatively impacted. We talked about your seed oils. We talked about sugar, and we talked about artificial sweeteners. Real simple, real simple. And then on the other side, as we get ready to get out of here, we talked about 3 foods that can really help your mood. We talked about your green leafy vegetables without the fat bags. We talked about your berries, your blueberries, your strawberries, your blackberries. You cannot go wrong, frozen or fresh. Do not be afraid of frozen vegetables. And then number 3, your beans and your legumes. Why? Because your beans and your legumes provide a slow release of your glucose, which means you will not have that quick crash that you get from your sugar. So here is your tangible takeaway for you. You got homework, right? You got homework if you decide to take it up. I want you to consider a swap. Take 1 meal today and swap your refined sugar for a handful of berries. Like a lot of people like to make smoothies in order to get their day started. And also Kelly mentioned dates, whether it's date paste or whether it's the date itself. Consider, instead of using sugar, use a handful of berries or try some dates. I like eating dates. I'll have to tell y'all how to make some date bites after a while. Number 2, this is something I want you to think about. Crowd out. Instead of focusing on like what you can have, start swapping your lunch out with things that are going to crowd out inflammation. Don't think of it as, oh, I can't have this. Think of it as, oh, I'm trying to build up a better brain. Because What we do right now impacts our long-term health. In case you all did not know, and this is going to be a lesson for another day, dementia is called type 2 diabetes. And I'm going to really do a whole lesson on that coming real soon, right? Y'all see this book, Reversing Diabetes. So I am going to do a lesson so that you can understand, if you're not familiar with dementia and the rate of dementia right now, and the fact that there are more assisted living and greenhouses in the United States so that our loved ones will have somewhere to go because the rate of dementia has increased, it's because of, I don't say necessarily the only reason, but sugar, our food consumptions impact our long-term health. So you're not just thinking about right now and today. We're thinking about my 50s, my 60s, my 70s, my 80s. Well, because I can tell you this, if I had not have made some changes 15, 16 years ago, when my doctor told me that I was borderline high cholesterol, I could have stayed on that trajectory. I could have been having the diagnosis of high cholesterol. Who knows what other impacts it would have had on my health. But what I do know is what you do today. I don't care what you did yesterday. That is so history. Tomorrow is a mystery. All we have is the present. And yes, it is a gift. So today, I want you to swap out one meal for your refined sugar or any type of sugar. Number two, I want you to crowd out your thinking about what you cannot have and bring in the thoughts about, you know what? I don't want to be inflamed. I just want to feel better. I'm telling you, I just want to feel better. And so this on Fridays, I call it Figured Out Friday, because you don't have to figure this thing out alone. I want you, when you start to replace your refined sugar, when you start to replace those small things, get you a journal, or I know most of y'all have a journal, and start to track it. Notice your mood after you eat. Matter of fact, notice your mood after you eat today. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever meal you have, just your regular meal, notice your mood. Did you crash or were you calm? That's going to be your answer. 2 hours after you eat, did you crash or were you calm? Then you'll have like your own scientific experiment that you did on yourself. And you'll know what I'm putting in my body really does impact my mood. Did you crash after you ate? Y'all, that's what I have for you today. It is May the 1st. We are pulling up for Figured Out Friday. Make sure you set your alarm, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, where I pull up every Friday to give you news that you can use practically. Here is my belief. My belief is, if it's preventable, then it's reversible. And my charge is to encourage you to recover the recoverable. And what I know is our health is recoverable. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Borderline high cholesterol. Your girl weighed about 30 pounds more than I weigh right now. About 5 years ago, I have the pictures. If you come to my masterclass, baby, you'll see that little round girl and the work that it takes in community to make these changes. You don't have to figure it out alone. We're going to figure this thing out. I pull up on Fridays and through my other content. Make sure you're following me. If you're not following me, or if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel is Doing Life Well with Regina. Has this been helpful this morning before we get out of here? Drop one thing in the comments that you're going to try over the next 7 days as I give my little commercial break. Shout out to Doing Life Well Integrative Health. That is my company where I provide coaching and support so that you can reduce your risk for cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, or even a stroke, right? Diabetes, as well as high cholesterol. And if you're carrying excess weight, I don't like to use the term obese, but I like to use the language carrying excess weight. I was carrying excess weight. Matter of fact, I got a few pounds today that I don't want, that I'm gonna get rid of. But we do this, no pills, powders, procedures, or injections. It's the old-fashioned way, putting in a little work, y'all. So I really hope this conversation has been helpful to you as we talked about foods that impact your mood. Pull up next Friday. We're going to continue the conversation with mental health awareness And what does that look like as it relates to how we live every day. So I really appreciate y'all adding beans to my tofu scramble. Yes. I usually have in my tofu scramble colored peppers, onions, red onions, not right. I love red onions. That's just me. But I have in my tofu scramble, thank you for adding that, Kelly. I have red onions. I have my spinach. I have colored peppers, and then I have like a fourth a cup of beans, as well as my tofu. But that's how I make my tofu scramble. You are so on target. Kelly done dropped us some. Oh, good morning, Miss Pearl. Kelly has dropped us some alternatives. If you did not see the comments on Facebook, Kelly, make sure you pull up every Friday, girl. You've been very insightful and very helpful, y'all. I want you all to, when you have your meals this weekend, 2 hours after you eat, whether it's lunch or dinner, write down how you feel. Were you calm or did you crash? Then you will know for sure that girl know what she's talking about. The fact that our food impacts our mood. I really want to say thank you all for pulling up with me on Fridays. I don't take that for granted. You could still be in bed or you could be doing something else. My goal is to reduce your risk factors for chronic health conditions and improve your outcome. If you're battling with something, if you're struggling with something, if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, if you have high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and if you're carrying excess weight, I am so here to help you out. Make sure if you have not gone over to my website, Regina, ReginaLACKING, Regina.lacking is my website. Head over to my website. As I mentioned throughout this show this morning, I will be hosting a masterclass on May the 18th. Mark your calendars, May the 18th. We're going to break down what does it look like for me to recover the recoverable. I'm not talking about what I've heard. I'm telling you about what I walked through myself. How did I recover my health? It takes work. It takes community. And I want to be able to walk with you in that. So that's number one. May the 18th, I will be hosting a masterclass. That is a Monday, 7:30 p.m. I will have my registration link up and ready for you on Monday. And you all know how we do it. Head over there and make sure you get this merch. No Flinch Faith. I got it upside down. I'm so sorry, y'all. No Flinch Faith. This is my signature tea. I will be dropping my recoverable tea soon, but this is my signature tea. No Flinch Faith. And what that means is that we stop flinching when it comes to our health. Just period. What do I need to do to recover my health? I'm responsible for my health, but here's the caveat. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. So I'm very excited to walk alongside with you. Mark your calendars, May the 18th. Also, if you have not picked up a copy of my journal, Making Boss Moves, 40 Days to a More Planted You, it is also on my website. I will get it sent out to you as quickly as possible because it's 40 days. And sometimes when I tell y'all about the journal, I don't tell you what the content is. So before I get out of here, week 1 addresses your emotional wellness. Week 2 is your medical wellness, because y'all be missing them doctor's appointments, and I'm going to need y'all to stop doing that. I'm going to need you to stop missing doctor's appointment because you got an important meeting. No, sir, no, ma'am. That is not okay. Stop missing your doctor's appointment. Week 3 is about your spiritual health. Week 4 is about your physical health. We don't start with your physical health. That's a misconception. And then week 5 is your social wellness. Why? Because community matters. And then week 6, we put it all together and we talk about how do you have holistic wellness. So make sure you head over and pick up Making Boss Moves, 40 Days to a More Planted You. Thank y'all for pulling up this morning. We address foods that impact your mood. As I've shared with y'all, I'm super excited. Your girl turned 50 this past Wednesday. I feel exceptionally well. The biggest compliment that I've been getting is, girl, you don't look 50. And I'm like, yes, 50 is the new 50. I don't have to pretend like I'm 30 because I don't quote unquote look 50. You can look this good too. Drink you some water, eat you some kale. I'm just kidding. But your wellness is important. Your wellness is important. Before I get out of here, I do want to say I'm super excited to be enrolled in the Food for Life class. I will be a Food for Life instructor. One of only two in the state of Mississippi and the only female. Hello, Trailblazer. Food for Life. What does that look like? I will be having live cooking demonstrations, cooking in the kitchen with your girl, and then also I will be in the community. And so, if you are a community organization, if you are a church, or if you are a business or organization and you have a wellness component, a health component, and you want to see your people well, then you're going to want to book me, right? To come into your space to not only teach you the language, but here is the practicality. How do we take what we have and make it healthier? I'll be able to pull up and do that. Super excited. Thank y'all for pulling up this morning. I want you to do this little exercise this weekend as I get out of here. After you eat, 2 hours later, check your mood. Are you calm or did you crash? Lunch today, whatever time you take your lunch, are you calm or did you crash? Then you will know for sure that your food impacts your mood. Thank y'all for pulling up. Again, set your notifications next Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't know what Friday that I'll have a mental health provider because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I invite you to always be kind to people because you don't know what they're struggling with, right? You don't know what they're struggling with. And so be on the lookout for my masterclass notification. And let me ask you this, my good people. When I post this, make sure you comment and share. Also on Instagram, I post about 3 or 4 times on Instagram. Engage with me. Don't just like it. I appreciate your comments. But more importantly, if the content has helped you, I would greatly appreciate you sharing it with other people. I will greatly appreciate if you share my content with other people. If it helped you, it will help somebody else. There is somebody you know and or love who is struggling in their health. They may not listen to what you're saying because they're sick of you saying it. Just slide it on over to them. Send them this communication, right? So thank you so much. It is your girl, Regina, the plant-based boss, and that's BAWSE, encouraging you too to become a boss. That stands for becoming a well soul every day. It's my charge. I'm getting out of here. We're all gonna go out and recover the recoverable. Enjoy your weekend and make sure you engage with my content. I see y'all later. Thank you so much for pulling up this Friday.